Good morning, everyone. Today is August the 9th, and this is Moneyball morning. We are looking at the spies and the cues, realizing there is a decision that is trying to be made, and what's happening is that we are watching the battle. So let's have a peek at this. First of all, if we look at the weekly charts, we can see that we're at the top of resistance, and that resistance zone tells us that there are traders who are going to try and short this. And there are traders who believe, because we've broken out into this uptrend, that any kind of shorting action is going to bring us buying pressure. So let's look to the recent past of what actually happened there. And notice we spent an entire week battling around the range. This is my thought about what this week is going to be like. Next week, because it's options expiry on the monthlies, there's going to be a little bit more volume. As far as delta hedging and gamma flow and all of those big fancy words you hear, it's slanted so that if we break support, the run down is probably going to be very sharp. However, the ability to break support seems fairly difficult in this formation. So let's talk about why. Okay, what we are doing is fleshing out an actual region where we can buy or sell. Here's the first thing. We broke out of here. We headed higher, gave us a higher high and a higher low. On these pullbacks, we're looking at this close in this week to hold. We're clearly on the inside of this candle, but we've already tested higher, which suggests that there are buyers sitting underneath us in general. We just have to wait for the chart to flesh out. So the question is, what does that look like? Well, if we go to the daily, we can see that we're in a little bit of a mosh pit. We have the day from, what is that? I don't know, Thursday, Friday of last week, something like that. And we're testing that edge, but fairly bouncing in front of it. So my suspicion is things might change intraday a bit if we move below 412. And so we have to give the chart a shot of shaking around and then trying to hold to the upside. Or if we lose this area, we're going to position ourselves on the short side of the formation to come around. Now, the 4-hour doesn't tell us much of anything. Why? Because there's no solid slope here. We can see that on the 50, it's lifting, but there's nothing really clean right in this space. If we look over here on the hourly, we can see that we're battling with the VWAP. Downward formations. We've stopped heading lower, but we're still in a downward formation. So that tells us that our bounces are likely to find sell zones. And that is the almost identical formation of the cues today. This one candle trying to hold lower cues. The tech is under a bit of pressure, particularly after yesterday's performance. Tech is having a little bit of a tough time. So what do we really want to do? We want to watch. We want to see price action move from the lows up into the congestion zone, but at this juncture, because the type of candlestick we expect is a little bit sideways, like it was over here, right? We have to be careful about forward motion in general and realize that what we're trying to do is flesh out support. Look at that. That's going to maybe alert while we're even here. But we want to watch the break and then see how the traders perform at the break. Just because a price action loses a level doesn't mean buyers won't come in on the cheap, especially in a sideways formation like this. So you want to be careful. All right, today is very, very choppy. In general, we are bouncing into resistance, and that resistance should give us selling opportunities unless it doesn't. Okay, so we have to get up here, wait for it to move, and then act after the fact. See you on the Benzinga platform.